When I was little, my dad passed away, and my mom didn't make much money, so we were pretty poor. Because of that, we hardly ever had any treats in the house. As a growing up child, not being able to have snacks was like living in hell. One day, without thinking, I found myself trying to put a deli bun in my pocket at the grocery store. "What are you doing?" A girl nearby caught my attention, snapping me out of it. She looked to be about my age, a real cutie. Startled, I put the deli bun back on the shelf. "Sorry, I'm just really hungry, but you know you can't just put the bun in your pocket." I knew exactly what she meant. Thinking back on what I was about to do, I felt so embarrassed. "I won't do it again. It's wrong. But you're hungry, right?" "Yeah." I looked down, feeling downcast. "Well, why don't you come over to my place and have some snacks?" What? Her offer surprised me. No one's home until late at night. You see, I was supposed to have a party today. I even bought some sweets, so let's eat together. "Are you sure?" "Yeah. I can't eat it all by myself." I followed her to her house. And she served me a huge birthday cake. What's with the big cake? It was supposed to be for eating with my mom and dad today, but they're both so busy with work, they told me they couldn't make it back. Seeing her sad face made me feel sad too. "Hey, I've got an idea." I started to decorate the cake with the candles that came in the box. "Hey, do you have a lighter or some matches?" "What? It's a birthday party. Let's celebrate now, just the two of us." "That sounds great." Her eyes lit up, and she smiled happily. And so, I sat there with the girl whose name I never learned, eating the big whole cake. The cake with strawberries on top was so sweet and delicious. This cake is amazing. Maybe it tasted so good because I was eating it while looking at her adorable smile. Needless to say, I couldn't eat dinner when I got home. I got an earful from my mom, but I still can't forget that girl's smile and the taste of that cake. I've regretted not asking her name before we parted ways ever since. I wanted to see her again so much that I tried to find her house, but I just got lost and never found it. That just made her all the more memorable. Looking back, that was my first crush. Hey, man, you need to start facing reality. My coworker's words made me swallow my cake in surprise. Here I am, at a little cake shop on the outskirts of town. This is a place I like coming to. Do you really think a guy in his 30s who likes cakes like this will be popular, Tom? You gotta man up or you'll never get married. Plus, with all the sweets, you're just going to keep gaining weight. What even is manliness? And saying I'm just going to keep getting fatter, that's harsh. Isn't it the truth, though? My coworker, Keith, sips his coffee while dropping some hard truths. Sure, I'm over 30 and a mature guy now, but what's wrong with enjoying my hobby of eating cake? I wonder how it looks to modern girls when a guy eats cake. I really think that, at the end of the day, it's all about how much a man earns. And a man, you should aim for a ripped body by working out. Yeah, maybe. I grumble internally about his unsolicited advice. Cake holds very precious memories for me. So, I don't care if it's not manly or if I gain weight. Anyway, the only way to break through this reality is matchmaking dates. Huh? What are you talking about, man? Matchmaking dates, that's what. I know a matchmaker who's great at this stuff. Let's get her to introduce you to some nice girls. Keith suggests matchmaking dates, but what does that have to do with manliness? Even someone unmanly like you might have a shot with a matchmaking date. Plus, it'll be a good chance for you to reevaluate yourself. What's that supposed to mean? Come on, do it as a favor for me, just once. That matchmaker has been bugging me to find someone, and it's a hassle. So, he just wants to use me as an excuse to get out of it. Despite my resistance, I say, fine, but just this once, and agree to the matchmaking date. I owe Keith for all the help he's given me over the years. It wouldn't hurt to pay him back this way. Great, thanks for agreeing. They really wanted to meet you too. It seems like it's not a formal matchmaking date, so just think of it as a casual introduction. All right. Keith is cunning to offer me up just to save his own face. But then again, it's that side of him that's often been a help. So, is it okay if I give your contact info to the matchmaker? Sure, why not? Thanks, man. That's how our conversation went before Keith and I parted ways. After that, we headed off in different directions to make our sales rounds. Once the work settled down, I found myself visiting another cake shop. I just can't quit. As I enjoyed a strawberry shortcake, I fought back to the matchmaking date conversation. Sure enough, when I go back home, my mom always starts with, "When are you going to get married? I'm worried if you don't settle down soon." But there's no talk of marriage when there's no one I'm dating. And my hobby of sampling different cakes has indeed led me to gain weight over the past few years. Lately, I've even started baking sweets myself. A guy with such a feminine hobby isn't likely to find a partner. To be honest, I do want to get married and have a family and kids someday. But it's hard to imagine a woman who'd want to date a guy like me. Well, it's all right. I'll go to the matchmaking date because it's a request from him. It's his request. I'll go just for the heck of it. That's what I'm thinking. After a while, the matchmaker sends over a photo and biography of my prospective partner. To my surprise, she graduated from a pastry school and is currently a pastry chef. The woman in the photo isn't exactly beautiful, but she looks strong, kind, and serene. Seeing her profession, I get excited, thinking we could share our interest in cakes and sweets. That's how I look forward to the day of the meeting. Near the store, a woman supposed to be Lucy, the matchmaker my colleague had introduced to me, greeted me at the entrance of the restaurant. "Hello, nice to meet you. My date, Emily, had a sturdy build but a reserved smile that was incredibly sweet." After we exchanged introductions, I struggled to find topics to talk about, finally managing to ask, "So, why did you want to become a pastry chef?" That was all I could come up with. She replied in a low voice, "Because I love cakes." She seemed nervous, not making eye contact and constantly looking down. Maybe she's just shy. I tried actively to talk about hobbies and favorite foods, but the conversation just wouldn't take off. She kept looking down, answering tersely. Maybe she wasn't into it. Honestly, I felt the same. I had hoped we'd bond over our love of cakes, but perhaps she didn't see me as her type. That makes sense. I'm well aware of how much weight I've put on. I guess she's going to turn me down. I knew this, but still came here anyway. Well, it's okay. The next day, I was lazing around at home on my day off when my cell phone rang. It was from Lucy, the matchmaker. "Thank you for yesterday. So, Emily wants to meet with you again, Tom. Can you find the time?" But she seemed disinterested. Lucy counted. She's the one asking for a second meeting, so maybe that's not the case. All right, I understand. Though skeptical, I agreed to meet Emily again. Oh man, I hope we don't run out of things to talk about again. The day was perfect for a park meetup, sunny from the morning. At the appointed time, I went to the clock tower where we agreed to meet, and she was already there waiting. Just the two of us today, no Lucy. Can we actually talk this time? I felt an odd tension, my heart pounding since morning. As we sat on a bench with a view of the sea, she suddenly began to speak. "I'm sorry about the other day. I was so nervous, I couldn't talk properly. I wanted to apologize for that today," she said with an apologetic look. "Also, for not properly answering why I became a pastry chef. You see, it's actually because the boy I had a crush on wanted to eat delicious cakes." She smiled brightly as she replied. At her words, my heart nearly stopped. She continued, "My parents both worked and often came home late. On my birthday when I was little, they couldn't make it back because of work, and I ended up sharing a birthday cake with a boy I met at a grocery store. He told me then, 'The cake tastes better when I ate it with you.' It was 20 years ago. Do you remember? It's been so long, you probably forgot." "That was me," I managed to say, with a choked voice. "Yes, I know." She smiled warmly. It took me a moment to understand what she was saying. Actually, I know Keith. He often told me about you, Tom, about your love for cakes, that the first whole cake you ever ate was a birthday cake for a girl you didn't know. When I heard your name, I realized you were that boy. I remembered your name from the name tag. On that day, she recognized my elementary school and name from my name tag, and had been thinking of coming to see me later, but it turned out she had to move away suddenly. Later on, she got to know me through a friend, Keith, and had been asking about me. So, this matchmaking meeting. Yes, I asked Keith and the matchmaker to set it up, insisting a bit, because I just had to see you again. I was lonely on my own, and thank you for having cake with me. I should be the one thanking you for speaking to me that day. Her words nearly brought tears to my eyes. I should be the one grateful for having reached out to me. Yet, she thanked me. She said I was her first love. It made me so happy to know she had been thinking of me all this time. I brought a cake that I made today. Would you like to share it with me? Of course, I'd eat as many as you bring, even hundreds. I was too overjoyed to keep speaking. She seemed to feel the same. Then she took out a box of cake and placed it before me. It was the strawberry cake we had eaten together. A strawberry cake that's not a whole cake looks delicious too, doesn't it? Back then, we ended up with our mouths all covered in cream while eating it. Exactly. We started fighting over who stole more strawberries. But then you gave me the strawberry you were going to eat. We laughed together, reminiscing about the past as we shared the cake. And she promised to bake a cake for the next time we met, and then we parted ways for the day. From that day on, my life changed. Every holiday, the person I like makes her favorite cake for me. And eating it together makes the sweet happiness double. My colleague, Keith, has become a total sweets buddy, and he jokes about how the notches on his belt have shifted. For us sweets lovers, she is now developing a low-calorie cake. Our dream is to one day open a cafe selling the cake she has created. I wasn't keen on the matchmaking date at first, but I'm thankful to Keith for such an unexpected encounter. To meet the woman I've longed for again, and have the person I love make her favorite cakes for me. I'm truly a lucky guy.